Hi, I'm Mel. I'm an AmeriCorps service member with Colorado Youth for a Change, and I'm here today with a student, Youmna.
Hi, I'm Youmna. I'm a junior at Rocky Mountain High School, and I'm really glad to be here today.
Exciting.
Me too.
How are you doing? How is the school year going for you?
It's definitely a challenge, but it was really fun for the most part. I got to make new friends, and I got to make new connections, and I learned a lot about myself, about my needs, and things like that, and who I am as a person. It definitely was, eye-opening this year.
Yeah, in what way, if you're willing to go into detail about that?
Well, I had some issues with the deans and a group of kids, and it made me understand that feeling heard is one of my biggest, needs from other people. If I feel like I'm lacking that, then I'm definitely not the best person to be having a conversation with. Yeah.
I think that makes sense. You want dignity and respect, so,
Right.
do you feel like that's a need that you're getting met here at Rocky?
For the most part, yeah, but there's definitely, experiences that I've been through that definitely did not make me feel that way. Yeah.
What do you feel like adults at Rocky, teachers, staff, whatever, need to know to, make you feel like you're heard and seen?
Well, being present in a few conversations that I've heard from staff, I definitely want them to view us as people, and that our experiences and connections are just as important and valuable as theirs, and it's not invalidated or less than just because we are younger and have less life experiences. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you feel like is right about schools right now?
I think the fact that we have a lot of options for food. For example, we have the free and reduced lunch as an option. This school year, we've had free lunch the whole time because of COVID. We have vending machines, and we have a cafe and a smoothie bar, and I think that's amazing. I think it meets a lot of people's needs, and it's definitely amazing that they're so affordable that even kids who can't meet ends meet have the ability to eat during school time. I think that's amazing.
What are some ways that you feel like the schools, and not necessarily I'm not asking you to roast a teacher or anything, but how do you feel like schools are not serving you? How are they not being helpful right now?
I think they're not being helpful in understanding life experiences that has been happening to kids. I feel like it's going one ear out the other and not really taking in the full picture of why this kid may be struggling or why they're acting the way that they're acting. That doesn't excuse terrible behavior, but I think it should be taken into consideration. Yeah.
Who do you feel like you are supported by in school?
I'd definitely say the counselors. I feel supported by you, definitely.
Gosh, I feel like I was walking into that when I was compliment me, please. I said, no, not the case.
But you do make me feel that way, and I really appreciate you. I feel like you're definitely a person I can go to if I'm having a rough time. And I would say there's been a good handful amount of teachers that have been just the most wonderful people that I've ever got to experience meeting. Yeah, there's a good support system here.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a support system that you've had for a while, or is that something that's new this year?
There's definitely been new ones, but I feel like there's also been ones that I've had my whole entire high school career, and ones that I've had to build over time. So it's a variety.
Okay, good. How do you feel like school has changed, going from remote? Did you start high school in remote, or?
I did not know.
Okay.
It was a year before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in your sophomore year when we went remote. How did that kind of change those relationships or strengthen them?
It definitely gave me a harder time because being a freshman, you just started making new friends, and it's you really rely on the other years of high school to make those connections stronger. It's also getting accommodated to what it's like being a high school student and juggling all those life things, because that's usually around the time where things start to go to shit. So it definitely like isolated a lot of people. It was out of our control, and I'm really happy that we got to, go into lockdown. I feel like that was completely necessary, but it's not to overlook how hard it has been for social systems and support systems. Yeah.
For you personally, how has the adjustment been of like going from like we're locked down and remote back here into person?
I was so excited about it. I definitely don't want to go back to that. It made me appreciate having to see people and have a lot of social interactions in a day, even if they're like unasked for. But it's definitely better than staying home and having to look at a screen all day. It's so much better.
So what you're telling me is that like if you had to like build a dream school, it would not be an online school?
Absolutely not. No. But it would it would definitely go into online if need be. Yeah.
What would your dream school look like?
I feel like I would like to see a lot of more diversity in staff in general, especially deans. I feel like if we're going to have a table that's going to make a lot of decisions, I'd like to see a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different types of people. Because if there's just one type of person sitting at that table, then it'll only make sense for that one type of person. It's really hard to make empathy with people that you've really not experienced what it's like being that person. Yeah. I would also like for it to have a nap time, a designated nap time for kids and staff. I think that would be amazing, and it would definitely make a lot of people less cranky.
Do you feel like people are not getting enough sleep?
No. Even if we have like a later start, which we've been so thankful for, but it's still difficult because you still have to go home, and a lot of kids work. A lot of teachers have second jobs, and we have families and lives to get back to, so it's like exhausting. Yeah.
In this dream school of yours, what do you feel like the culture is for students? Like what kind of student body would you want going to your dream school?
I want representatives from all different types of people. You know how there's like sophomore representative, freshman, whatever. I think instead of having that, we should have representatives for a lot of different types of people so that we will see them in our everyday lives and we will get to know them. And if you've had an upbringing where you really did not have a lot of connections with different types of people, you'll have a lot of opportunities to be able to do that. Because I feel like a lot of the world issues going on right now is because we don't understand how to coexist or how to respect other people. We think that our ideas are only right when I think there's all different types of right. Not talking about the kids who are like, I don't believe everyone should have equal rights. Those are excluded from this. But yeah.
Okay. How close to this platonic idea do you feel like Rocky, like how close do you think Rocky is to that same idea?
I think it's halfway there. Definitely think it's halfway there. There's a lot of kids that are definitely holding us back from that, but I feel like a lot of kids, especially after the pandemic, have grown in maturity so much, and their treatment of people has completely changed, and I feel grateful for that. But there's still definitely that big handful of kids who are holding us back from that, which I think they're just trying to honestly seek attention. And if they were educated properly, I feel like it wouldn't be as big of a problem. Yeah.
What do you feel like for those students who like are uneducated or uninformed? How do you feel like, what are some things schools can do to like help them kind of become more open to other people's perspectives?
I think we should have a required class of just learning about different types of people and why saying some things isn't okay and what reason there is for that and why some things are appropriate and some not. There's personal beliefs and disagreements, but that doesn't come down to human rights, and I don't think it comes down to how we treat our history and what things have been like, especially with recent events of police brutality, abortion bans, LGBT marriages being like unlegal again. I think there's a lot of education that we still need to get, because it really isn't helping. I don't think those issues should be considered opinions. I think they are expected. I think we should fix these things, and it's not a matter of, well, I personally believe, well, your personal belief is hurting people, and I don't think that's what a personal belief should look like. A personal belief is like, I believe pineapples go on pizza, not I think a certain group of people deserve to walk this planet in peace or not.
Yeah, I think that's really wise.
Thank you.
How important do you think education is to, like, the future?
We are the next generation that's going to have the future in our hands. And if we really don't start fixing these issues from the root, which is the education system, we will never see true improvement. Our world will just keep going the way that it's going right now. And I don't want to see that. I want to see change. And I want to see peace, definitely, which I think is very far-fetched. Peace and equality for everyone. But I don't think that it's as far-fetched as we believe it is. I think it really just comes down to education.
Yeah. What do you wish for the future? And it doesn't necessarily just have to be, like, for everyone, but, like, for yourself.
For myself, I really want to have my own space because I value personal space. I want to move out, and I want to build my own systems and traditions that fit my needs and what I want to see in a household. And I'm definitely excited for that, because having my own space to decorate and eat the foods that I want to eat and doing the things that I want to do on the daily without having to consider anyone else besides what I need right now, I think that's amazing and very, like, appealing, especially to someone in a big family. I love my family, of course, but I also value my own personal space. And for everyone else, I definitely want to see change in systems. I think the people in charge definitely need to be more diverse. I think we need to start fixing the issues at the root instead of just throwing them at individual people. Because we really all built this system together. Even if we haven't been at the table making the decisions, the fact that we don't speak about them or that we take or partake in the issue, I think also helps strengthen those incomplete or broken systems. I want a lot more people to advocate. A lot more. I think we're doing that a lot recently, and I think we definitely need to do more of it, because there has been change. And to the people who say it's too late to change, it really isn't. It may be too late for you to see it in your lifetime, but it's definitely not going to be too late for your children or your grandchildren to see in their lives. And I think even if it's too late for us, we should still try to make it a better place for the people coming, because it isn't fair to just hand them a mess.
Yeah, I think that's really wise.
Thanks.
What are things we can do, both just like interpersonally, but also like as a school, to help create that better world?
Speak up, definitely. If you see something, you need to say something. And it's hard, and it may not even change a single thing when you go and talk to that person in charge, but you would be the first person. And the person who was being hurt by that situation would feel like they've been seen. And I think that's more than enough change for a person to do on their own. That started a butterfly effect. Because now every time we do that, then the people in charge will start to see it more often and maybe realize that this is an issue. You may think that, like, I'm not going to do anything on my own for signing petitions or advocating online or posting a story, but you are. You're making people see the issue. Even if it's just one single person, that person can reach out to another person. It'll start a chain effect. And for systematically, I think we need to make it, or start to build a system where our opinions really do change things, or what we advocate for does create change, and it's not just going in one ear, out the other. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say like that, because that kind of reminded me at the beginning of our conversation of like teachers like not hearing you. What do you feel like, in the most like realistic sense, like here in your own personal experience, could people do to help you get to that future?
I think we need to slow down, like in our day-to-day lives, because it's really hard to listen when you're caught up in your own things. And I think needing to slow down, remind yourself that you are sitting in the place that you're sitting in, and not just focus on the next moment that's coming or what you're going to cook after school or whatever. Yeah, I think that's where it really comes down to, is you need to be in a state of presence. I sound completely like a tree hugger.
I like what you have to say. I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
What are you hopeful about in the future? Or not even like the long-term future, but like just like the rest of the school year.
I am so hopeful for all the change that's been coming and going. See, even on like Snapchat stories, I've been seeing counter, what are they called? Protests to protests that are negative and not necessarily helpful. And I love seeing that. I love seeing people my age or a little bit older like actually take the time out of their day to protest. I think protesting is truly the way to help ourselves and what we want to see in the future. There's been a lot of protests, and even school-led ones, like for the GSA, they've had protests on the street over there, and they're all peaceful. I am a very big fan of peaceful protests, and I think that's exactly what we need to see right now, because we need to make them hear us. It's not a choice anymore, and I love that. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen later.
I'm happy to hear that. Are there things you're hopeful about, like, in school or, like, in your personal life?
Even in school, like, there's been a lot of peaceful protests. When the new dress code came out, it was very strict on women or female bodies. And it was amazing to see people protest for that peacefully. Even the males, like the male students at our school, were wearing skirts and crop tops, and I think that made me feel so whole. It filled my bucket for sure. It made me so happy to see that even like those silly goofy guys, you know, the class clowns or the girls that don't really care, everyone is just like putting that effort into changing that rule, and it changed. They listened and it changed, and I think that's amazing, and we need to see more of that. I think we definitely do have the power to change things, and I'm so excited to see more of it.
I'm so happy. I guess my final question for you is, what do you feel like people just need to know? Like, it doesn't matter if it's like about school or about like just like the world in general. What do you feel like is some piece of advice that you'd like to give?
I think personal, school, and worldwide is very connected to me. My advice or my last piece of info would be that it's really not too late. It really isn't too late to see these changes. And like I said before, it may not be in your lifetime, but it will be for the next. And I think that's what we need to work towards. I'm tired of seeing people in pain, and I'm sure a lot of people have too, because even if it doesn't affect you personally, it affects someone you know. And I think we all truly want to see that change.